Alright guys, check this beast out. Just picked this thing up for $1,500. It was 2 hours away, but I thought it was worth the drive. I've never seen a 200X with the one wheel in the back like that, so that's pretty cool. And it actually runs too. Doesn't run very well, but it does run. So yeah, as you can see from the frame, 1986 ATC 200X. So these are the sport quad version of the 200. So the front kick on the engine. Very similar to the 350X. This is just the lesser version of the 350. But as you can see, they look pretty similar. It's got the DG pipe on it. I believe it's a full exhaust that works with that. As you can see, missing a couple bolts here and there. That's kind of just hanging on there. Looks like the mount is broken off right there, so that needs to be welded. It's an easy fix though. Let's weld that up. The swing arm on it looks like it might be aluminum. Yeah, I think it's aluminum. I believe it's a homemade swing arm. The guy said it does need a new chain right here because it's pretty slacked, and with this setup there's really no way to tension the chain, because to tension this one you move the wheel back. Is that even tight on there? Oh, the bearings in there are pretty rough as well. Feels pretty iffy. Probably needs new bearings as well. You can see how hard it was ridden by the foot pegs. They're completely worn down. So this thing was probably beat pretty good. There's studs in it for the ice, still on it, as you can see, so definitely needs new tires. The previous owner said that he put the air box on it. He said that when he bought it, it came with a pod filter, but he didn't want it to get water in it, so he put the stock air box back on it. Looks like the tank was sanded down and maybe repaired right there. Hard to tell. Or it was just rubbed off. Not too sure what happened there. Looks like somebody was going to paint it red at one point, but that can be painted back to white. He said one of the headlights works. He thinks it's the low one that works on it. So that's cool. Looks like everything's here, except obviously for the back fenders, which you can't really have when you have one wheel in the back. But the back wheel you can see has studs as well. Most of them are taken out. Back brake is kind of weird on it. Kinda works. Not the greatest setup in the world, but he said you have to be careful with this because it sometimes grabs right here, so you want to be careful. But the engine looks pretty decent. Really no leaking from the engine. It is missing the decompression wire that goes from here up into up here. It goes, so it's missing that. He said that he redid the fork boots and the fork seals, so he said those aren't leaking anymore. But yeah, the frame looks pretty good. That's the original frame color right there, so that looks pretty good. Looks like a custom fender in the back was cut. Original seat on it still. Let's see what the gas tank looks like on the inside. See if she's rusty in there. Oh, no rust whatsoever. Cool. No rust in there. See what the switch has. High, low, on, off, run, on, off. And then it looks like it's got some Scott grips, Renthal bars. This doesn't look too bad. Let's just check the oil here quick. See what we got for oil. Probably definitely needs an oil change. You can already tell it's kinda not the greatest. Take a look here. Pretty black looking. So definitely be changed. Yeah, that's really black. Let's see the amount that's in it though. It's filled up to the top. So that's good. But it is pretty black looking. The guy rode it down the road for me when I got there, and it just kept on dying. So I'm guessing it needs a carb clean, or valves adjusted, or both. But yeah, it's a beast. It's definitely a stretched swing arm as well. I think it's pretty long. I'll measure it for you guys. So from the end of it, we'll go to the center. About 30 inches for the swing arm. It's pretty big. So he says he pumps this thing full of grease when he rides it. There's another grease fitting, he said, somewhere on here. Oh, right here. But as you can see, it's a little janky. I don't know, there's a lot of play in there. So I don't know if the bearings in there are going, or if this bolt is just loose in here. It looks like that just spins on there. Not really sure how this thing is set up. It looks like a bolt is going through, holding that on. But it doesn't look like the bolt's spinning from this side. And I spin this. So what's... Oh, there's just grease in there. So the bolt probably goes until here. And that shaft spins on that. So it's definitely a unique setup. I know they make aftermarket swing arms for the 250Rs. This one's a little janky on it because it's homemade, but he said it works. He said he's gone 60 miles an hour on it, so it's definitely a unique setup here. So I think first thing we're gonna do is try to start this thing up, see if it starts up, and then we'll go from there. Probably start it up, get the oil hot, drain the oil, do the carb clean, see what the valves are doing. Probably repair this quick, and then try to take this thing for a ride. All right, we'll see if this sucker starts up today. Well, it started up, took a little bit, but sounds pretty decent. It doesn't feel like it has a ton of compression, even with the decompression wire not on there. So we'll probably check compression as well, make sure the rings are good in there. But I did see a little bit of smoke, so it probably does need new rings. But otherwise, it's not too bad. Ooh, she's black. Holy cow. Hey, that's not good. A little carbon built up on there. Ooh, that's a rough looking plug. Boy, oh boy. Lots of carbon on there. I'm guessing compression is going to be a little low. Get the tester over here. Hook up a gauge here. Alright, you guys keep an eye on that. I'll kick it over. And then we'll look up the specs. I think it's supposed to be like at least 140. We'll do it with the throttle open. Let's see what we got here. Looks like we've got 150, almost 160, like 159. So that's not too bad. That's more than I was expecting. I was expecting like 120. By the way, it kicks over, so yeah, that's not bad. I'm happy with that. If you're at like 120, it's probably time to do rings. Seat comes off. There's a rubber underneath here. Ooh, pretty crunchy. Pretty crunchy. This thing needs a good washing as well. Let's see what's in here. K&N filter. Yep, so there's a K&N air filter in it. That's kind of nice. Looks pretty decent. Doesn't look too dirty in there. So that's good. Air filter checks out. Alright, so because it starts easy and because the compression's so high, I don't think the valves are off. Plus, I don't hear a rattle sound, so I'm guessing the valves are fine. What I'm thinking is probably happening is the carburetor's dirty. And as we look at the carburetor, we can see it's pretty gunked up in there on the outside. So let's take apart the carburetor and see what they're running for jets in there, and then clean that up a bit. A little crusty in there. Might try to heat that up a little bit, the heat gun, to get that rubber a little bit softer. So a lot of times this rubber right here gets really hardened up, kind of forms to the hole. It's really hard to get off. Alright, she's out. Cool. Let's open that up and see what's going on. Alright, let's take a look in here. How bad do we think it's going to be? Can't be too bad if it runs, but maybe the pilot's clogged up a little bit. Oh, it looks pretty clean in there. For the main jet, it's running a 135 main jet. You can see there. And the pilot looks like a 45 for the pilot. You guys can see in there or not. But we'll get both those out. I mean, it's a little dirty, but not bad. We'll see if the pilot's clogged here. Yeah, it's a little bit clogged. You can't really see through it. You'll be able to see my glove come through. Alright, that cleared it out. Let's see what the fuel screw is at. So there's one. About 1.5 out. But that looks good. Tip is nice and pointy still. Sometimes when people screw these in too far, that tip right there goes all the way down to there and breaks off. So you want that nice and pointy like that. So that looks good. We'll take the float out and the needle. Needle is still nice and rubberized. That's good. No gas in there. So the carburetor looks pretty clean. We'll use some carb cleaner and we'll blow that all out. Alright, so I just looked it up and it looks like the stock jetting for the pilot is a 35 and we have a 45. So it's up 10 from that. And then for the main, listen to this, the main stock one is 112 and this one's a 145 or a 135. So it's up quite a bit. So yeah, a couple of people on the forums run like a 130 main and then like a 38 pilot. So I don't know if the pilot's too big on this thing, but the only modification I know of is the DG pipe. So I guess what we're gonna do is once we take it for the first test drive, we'll see how it runs, see if it revs out completely, see if it bogs, and then we'll probably be messing with the jetting a little bit because that seems really big from stock, and that's just a pipe. So I'm not really sure. We'll see though. All right, we got the carburetor back in there, all cleaned out. Let's see if we can get this thing to idle now. go. Up a little bit. Not bad. Sounds pretty good. Really loud. Really, really loud. All right, we'll let this warm up and then we'll drain the oil. All right, this thing takes 1.3 quarts. I looked it up in the manual. And then there's a bolt to drain it right there. Let's get that. Oh. Sucker's on there. See how black it is. Ooh, that's pretty black. Wow. Holy cow. That's like straight up black. That's crazy. That is not good. But we'll let that drain for a bit and then we'll add the new oil. Well, good thing we're doing that. And a quick feel for any metal chunks in here as well. Doesn't feel like any. That's a good sign. Alright, let's get some fresh oil going to it. .3 quarts, I guess, we're going to be adding. Perfect. Then we'll start her up, let her warm up for a little bit, get that oil circulating. See if it starts right back up here. Perfect, right at that line. That's where we want to be. All right, let's get this thing fixed right on the pipe right here. You can see that needs to be welded up. Let's get that fixed. Hey, it looks like we might get a free 14mm socket out of it. Used as a spacer, looks like. Ooh, might be a little hot. There's the piece we need down there. Wasn't getting a good ground, but I think we got her. Alright, let's get this pipe back on here. Alright, now it's nice and tight on there. Alright, that's fixed. Let's get this thing pressure wash and see if it cleans up a bit. Alright, cleaned up a little bit. Not too bad. There's a lot of grease in the back though. Front end looks good though. I left the stickers on there. This side looks really good. Pretty clean. Pretty clean on that side. This side I started painting the tank to see if it would color match. And it looks like it might. So I'm going to continue that, put a clear coat on it, and then call that a day. So we'll see if that turns out. Alright, first coat on. Trying to blend the colors here a little bit. I don't think it looks that bad. If we get a matching sticker for it, I think it looked pretty good. Alright, clear coat went on. Obviously not a perfect match, but it's close enough. Doesn't have to be a showpiece. We're just going to test drive it. But yeah, probably get a sticker for it. And it'll be the beater bike. I don't think we're going to put much more money into it. But yeah, let's check and see if the headlights work here. I'm curious to see. He said the low beam worked. Let's see if that's true. So the low beam does work. Now it starts up first kick. That was first start after the pressure wash. So that's pretty good. She's ready to rip. So I think next video, since we're running out of time, we'll load her in the truck, take it to my parents' house, rip it around, see how she does, go for a couple trail rides, and see how this thing goes. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time, we are out.